Hi everyone, happy Inspirational Sunday. So Trigger and I just wanted to share with you an inspirational story that happened to us about 14 years ago. So as I'm learning, to be a spiritual teacher, that means that I am forced to walk my talk. And the story that I'm sharing with you now, that I also wrote about in my book, is one of those times of divine intervention and healing and angels that has forever shaped and reshaped my life. So the story is about, like I said, it's about a miracle. This was, so about 14 years ago, it was on a Sunday afternoon. Him and I decided to go, I decided to take him for a ride. But the weather was a little bit goofy that day, and it was starting to rain, and it was really windy, and he was being a little spooky. So I decided not to ride him, and I was going to walk instead. So I put on my running shoes, and I wanted to take him that direction, which is, there's a lake over there. But in order to get to that lake, you actually have to cross this highway, and then there's a gravel trail, and then you have to cross another 2-lane highway, and then you're on the trail that actually goes to the lake. And that was fine, we made it. It was probably about a 2-mile jaunt, and him and I made it successfully. And as I was sitting on the ground and letting him graze, I clearly wasn't paying attention or holding on to the lead tight enough, because a deer jumped out of the bushes, and sure enough, he takes off for home as fast as his legs could carry him. Now, if you've ever seen a frantic horse run to home, right back to the barn, you would know that there's pretty much nothing that could get in his way or stop him from, doing what he's going to do. And I began chasing after him, knowing that there is no way that I'm going to catch this horse. So I felt incredibly hopeless and helpless. There wasn't a person that I could call or a thing that I could do besides pray. So I prayed with every cell in my body. And as I'm watching him, run, dust is flying everywhere, and me chasing after him, I just said, God, if horses have guardian angels, can Triggers please be watching him right now? And I had to trust, I also had to trust that no matter what happened to him, even if he got hit by a car, that he would be provided for, he'd be taken care of. So as I'm racing after him still, and I'm on the trail, so it goes up and down and up and down, right? I could see that he had successfully crossed the first highway, which, wasn't that big a deal. He made it past the first highway, and he was going up this little ravine, and then he was on the gravel road. But I was worried, because as that gravel road and this highway intersect, traffic moves, rather quickly, and as he would be crossing this highway, he would dart out in front of the traffic, and he would get schmucked. And as I'm running, I go down the hill, and I lose sight of him. But as I'm coming up, I see he is standing with a woman, a dark-haired woman, right? Pretty much right where the two roads intersect, and this woman is holding him just like this, and she has turned him around, and she is walking him back towards me. And so I couldn't believe my eyes. So I'm looking at this woman thinking, what has just happened here? I clearly, it was like crazy, and I stopped running, and so now I'm only jogging. And as her and I meet up, I just looked at her, and I said, thank you. And she said, are you missing somebody? And I said, yeah, he's mine. And I said, well, how did you catch him? And she said, in life, we all need a helping hand every once in a while. And I said, thank you. took the lead from her, and Trigger and I turned around and we continued home, back to the barn. And I intuitively knew that if I turned around and wanted to see a human form, that one probably wouldn't exist. And I was right, but I turned around anyway. I turned around and there was no body in sight. And I looked at him and I said, "You are one lucky horse." And here we are, 15 years later. He's 35 years old now. And like I said, he's taught me amazing lessons in life, not only about trust, but unconditional love and believing in myself, and the list goes on and on and on. So, I wanted to share this message with you today, just in case if there's a time in your life now or maybe in the future where you feel a little bit of hopelessness or feel helpless. I want you to remember this, that nobody in life is ever alone, and we all are divinely guided, and we are all unconditionally loved. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon.